Your camera is perfect, and we are live with episode 7 of Airsoft Nation.
Didn't even check my camera's fine.
Yes, your camera is perfect, and we are live with episode 7 of...
I did enjoy my holiday. Thank you all for asking.
Didn't even check my camera's fine.
Yes, your camera is perfect, and we are live with episode 7 of...
I did enjoy my holiday. Thank you all for asking. It was a wonderful little break with the ex-missus.
Let's say it was the ex before the show, not after the show.
Clever.
Holiday.
Yeah. Could you imagine how bad that would be?
Yes, I'd rather not. And our special
holiday, breaking up with you.
Yes, there's a lot of nice girls out here. See you later. Oh, you're getting so much trouble. Welcome, Dan, aka Sniper Mechanic, to the show. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Right, guys, it's worth saying just throughout the show, every 5-6 minutes we're going to be going to your questions. So if there's anything that comes up during the show and any questions you want to throw towards Dan or Carlo or myself, please jump into the live chat. Until then, we will just carry on. And if you could, in the next couple of minutes, if you're enjoying the show, start sharing it with all your friends so we can try and get some more people watching the show. And so that we will continue and say, Carlo, what were you up to this weekend? Carlo? Can you hear me?
So hang up. Just about.
Hello?
Yeah. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I'm back.
So what were you up to this weekend?
I went to the jail for the Military Minds and Scotty Little Soldiers charity event. Absolutely fantastic day. The guys worked really hard during their donation campaign. They managed to raise £1,300 for Scottish Little Soldiers, which is fantastic. Alex Bailey, who was one of the networking geniuses behind it, he was on Full Operator a few weeks back. I'm hoping to get him and Dan on the part 2 of the show. And we will be kind of reviewing that as well as promoting the Military Minds second event later on this year. But that's kind of TBC of event venue and time and date.
Fantastic. Everything I've heard so far has been nothing but positive. And I know Alex, although I'm sure he needs a break, is straight on sorting out more events. So yeah, that's definitely fantastic stuff.
The guy never sleeps. I'll receive messages from him at 2 a.m. and say, Carlo, you up? I was like, I wasn't, but yeah, what's up?
That sounds like Jason Stringer and me.
Are you asleep? Not anymore. What can I help you?
Yeah, I did that with Tom the other day as well. Fantastic. And Dan, did you get up to anything this weekend?
Well, as you've probably seen, I started having a little tinker with the striker. I finally had some time, and then other than that, it was a bit of gardening, seeing as we had nice weather yesterday. So not the most exciting.
I did get out on the motorbike, had to make the most of it. So yes, finally good to have some weather here, and no doubt we will see more airsofters on the field now that the mud's dried up. They can get their cry gear out there.
Hey.
Where's Will when you need him?
Hey, don't make me reach over and get my cries. I'll cry into them. Somebody just asked, I thought Nov was on. I was like, yeah, that is Nov.
Yeah.
It is Nov.
This is Nov with a beard. This is Nov 2.0.
Sorry, Billy. If you may want to check the date of that post, and the rifle that was being mentioned is definitely not the stuff that Novrich is bringing out, although some would say it is.
We have a great question for Dan straight off the bat, and that's from Stuart A. Carroll, and he asked, did you get the striker firing yet?
Not yet. I have spoken to Ed. I said to him, Ed, help. It's not working. But it looks like as with any rifle, there's a bit of QC, and the trigger box that I've got is about 1 mil to 2 mil shorter, or depth-wise rather, than my previous one. And it means the sieve physically can't drop enough to release the piston, so I've got to do a little bit of filing. Confident I'll get it working, but the kit itself is phenomenal quality, as everything Edgy is. And the dual bore barrel, which I did test briefly before putting the rest of the kit in, is good. it's an expensive barrel, but performance-wise, it's good, and it certainly helps with the dual creep. Although, before someone panics and says dual creep, I'm dual creeping in a positive way because the gun has a low volume, so you want to dual creep it, as opposed to going, it's 500 FPS, but 450 on .4s.
That's actually, the science is sound. The science is sound, especially if you're using, let's say, for example, a VSR, which is stock low feet per second, obviously to be compliant with Japanese laws. Now, dual creep is traditional on a long barreled rifle. So, what's your main sort of working out to do in terms of the way you dual creep? Because a lot of people would consider that cheating.
It's one of with the influx of people running out and getting a lot of the HBA rifles, not the Titmans, because getting them to shoot full auto consistently is a challenge in itself, but they shoot at a realistic level. I've had a few. I love them. I do really like them, but you're not going to get that shooting 30, 50 rounds per second rather. So with Polar Stars, what's more damaging? Would you rather get hit with a .4 from the minimum 30 meter engagement range, or would you rather get hit from 10 feet with 30 rounds? I know what one I'd rather. But with obviously the change... Oh, sorry, go on.
I don't leave the safe zone, so I never get hit.
You just lob it out of the safe zone.
Get that guy!
Just make it rain.
It's my last 3 experiences. Just I'll repair my gun today in the safe zone. I will get out there, guys. I promise.
No, I'll lend mine out to people. That way I don't have to play.
But with dual creep, I don't think you should actively do it at regular games. Things like sniper ops. Obviously, now we can only dual creep up to the level that's been set. But for guns that... Is it 2.5 joules, that is?
Yes, on a .2, it's 520 FPS. But yes, if you start looking at dual creep, you've got to make sure you're looking at your joule limit. I don't have the number to hand because I kind of only know it on the
pretty sure it's 2.5 joules, which is about 354 with a .4 is about 2.5 joules, 2.5 joules.
I'll find the chart in a moment.
But for when you've got, obviously when you're looking at rifles that have correct mag placement, that don't use the or a short stroke like the Striker or even the new Tokyo Marui M40, you want to actually induce dual creep to make up for that smaller cylinder volume you've got. And the ways of doing that are using a heavier spring with a very heavy piston, so you get that momentum, creating a better seal. Like 9 balls, if you can get one that has good QC, because I've had about 5 or 6 recently, and 2 of them I've been able to just take out and use. 2 of them have been binned, and a couple of them just needed a bit of trimming. But they cause such a great seal that when I put one in my Amoeba, even on my short G-spec barrel, I was getting 350 FPS out of a cylinder which has about that much volume in it.
Well, this is it, isn't it? It is a real small cylinder, isn't it, really?
It's tiny.
Yeah.
Hence why the dual bore barrel works at the stock length of 550mm. But
can you explain the dual bore barrel to people that have just jumped in, and because it's still relatively new on the ground for most people?
So you have to explain a bit about how dual creep works. So with a light BB, it's out of the barrel before it's essentially got all of its potential energy. It's gone before the air's gone.
Yep.
A heavier BB stays in the barrel longer, which means more air stays behind it for longer, which imparts more energy.
Absolutely.
The way the dual bore works is first, I'll say half, I think it's less than half, but the first half of the barrel is 6mm. So basically you've got a really small gap with a lot of air behind it. It gets to a point of where actually that's been, because it is so tight, 6mm is, I generally as a rule don't use 6mm barrels just because...
No. Swollen BB, anything.
Yeah, obviously with brands like BLS and Jeffs, and obviously Bespoke have got some .4s out as well, that the quality's good. And a lot of people have tested it. I think Sam Liggett at Kingdom of Airsoft has done it.
Yep.
And they are consistently 5.95, 5.96.
Yeah.
So you can get away with using a 6mm barrel. But because it is so tight, you're forcing that short air volume to stay behind the BB for longer, for that initial period, and then you're letting it go out and stabilise. And because of that, you're essentially creating dual creep, and paired with a decent bucking, like a Reaps bucking isn't too bad for sealing. 9-balls are brilliant. The modified tans are a very underrated bucking. But if you can't get a 9-ball, a modified tan is outstanding. They just work really well. But again, because you're making everything efficient down this end of the barrel, close to the cylinder, close to the hop, you're making sure that any energy that you have there, especially with a rifle that's got a smaller potential because of the volume, if you get everything there right, then you only need to have a short barrel to get the best out of it, which is what prompted me to chop my amoeba and run a G-spec. But the dual bore works by basically making sure that all of that energy is captured here first and allowed to build up on heavy ammo. And then the rest of the barrel is 6.05, which is a good happy medium for long-range shooting. But they work, and I do recommend them. I'd say either chop it down and get a decent G-spec barrel and a decent bucking, or go for the dual bore.
Not exactly cheap, are they? That's worth saying.
Hey, so they're not. James Bailey's just dropped in.
He
says good evening.
Ask him why he doesn't love me anymore.
I'll do that right now. Hang on. It says because you're. I can't read that last word on there. Sorry, mate. I really can't. I'll ask him. Joe actually asked, "Why is Graham outside? Come in, pal. It's getting chilly out there."
Yes. Well, you guys can't see. Yes, the green screen. I kind of ran out of motivation of what I should have today, so we just got the plain brick wall covering all the VIP stuff behind for the live show.
Yeah, James Bailey has actually replied saying, "I love you, Dan."
Mate, it's made my day. I was having a bad day, but now it's complete.
Stuart A. Carroll has stated, "Don't get 9-ball, Dan. You'll get frisky. We know it's your favourite."
It's a true story.
Can you delve into that, please? I mean, I'm sure we got time.
There's no real story. I do rate about the 9-ball back-ins in a good way, and they have terrible QC way.
So let's start from the start. Obviously, you've got the Sniper Mechanics blog, but when did you start Airsoft? And what was the bit that you picked sniping over things like AGs?
Still my format from my show here.
Yeah, maybe.
That's not right.
Maybe. I've learned something.
I started when I was about 17. I was working in a shop in Worthing, and a guy called Neil worked in a print shop down the road, just down the high street. And he came in one day, and I can't remember what we were talking about, but he basically said that there's a site called Elite Action Games. He said, "This is Airsoft, it's great, it's like a manly version of paintball." And I'd been to paintball, and I was like, "Oh, I really liked it." And he basically said, "Oh, well, come down one weekend, there's a surplus shop around the corner, grab yourself some cheap combats, some DPM clothing, I'll lend you one of my rifles and come round." So I went to EAG a couple of times, thought, "Oh, it's really good, really enjoying it." And I saw some people there who were proper gillied up using rifles, and I thought, "Oh, I don't know if I have the patience for that," but I really liked it. And then one of the guys let me borrow his rifle, and didn't have a ghillie or anything. I was still running around in just literally combats and a t-shirt. But I was thoroughly enjoying being able to just pick people off at range, having to really think about how I was playing in terms of how quick could I get shots off. Do I really want to go after a group of people and things like that? And it's just been on and off since then. I've had gaps every now and then where work's got in the way, or I've moved and I haven't got people to go with. So yeah, about 10 odd years I've been playing now.
Oh.
Wow.
And then last year you started the Sniper Mechanic blog.
Yeah, there's obviously a huge amount of information on rifles out there. Obviously you've got the Airsoft Sniper Forum, which is an absolute wealth of information on there. But on Facebook you had the pages, and I don't know, social media isn't the most friendly in terms of we've all been noobs. We've all asked the same questions. We've all asked what we think are legitimate questions, and perhaps someone who's more experienced thinks it's a stupid question. And I just thought, well, actually, I spend a lot of my time reading, learning, and tinkering. And obviously, a lot more people are getting into sniping because of the likes of He Who Shan't Be Named, obviously Bailey, Bodge Ups, Kicking Muffins, people like that. they're really sort of encouraging people to say, Airsoft has many roles you can play. Obviously, you've got your speed stuff, CQB, mil sim. Obviously, you've got the sniper op stuff that James is working on. And I thought, actually, if people are getting into it, I'm doing it as a hobby. So why not just document what I'm doing? It doesn't make doing what I'm doing any harder, beyond taking sort of slightly more ponzier pictures, perhaps, and sit down and writing it.
When you say poncy, do you mean posy?
Well,
it's cool.
For the fans.
I do it too.
Filters are on there.
I do it too. It's not an issue.
But yeah, so I just wanted to make something where, if I'm having a bad day at work, I can come home and 9 times out of 10 just strip something, clean it, or work on something. Although you have days when stuff just doesn't work. But I thought, actually, if I'm already doing it, why not help other people in the community? Like, I'm not paid, I'm not sponsored. It's all my money that goes into these builds. But I'll build it, I'll use it, I'll sell it on, or I'll build it, keep it for a while, lend it out to someone like James, who I sent the striker to, and I think he's going to be having my Wolverine build at some point as well. So I'm sure you can have a tinker with that. But yeah, I just thought I'll just do it. I've always wanted to sit down and do it. And considering I only started it, I think November, December I started it.
Yeah, around about there.
Yeah.
Managed to get a decent amount of people following, a lot of interaction. I really like the fact that people who I've never met, who are just like, I've got a rifle, and I'm having what they think is a difficult problem, and I think, oh, actually, that's really simple. Just do this, mate. All you need to do is this, or I'd recommend this part, or don't try that with that, because I know for a fact those brands don't match. Because the amount of times I've not done my research and built something to find out PDI doesn't play very nice with nearly every other band. I think, well, that's a couple of £100 I've wasted, just because
that's it.
PDI really likes PDI. But it's been good. I've enjoyed it a lot. Nice.
To be honest, Dan, you're a credit to the Airsoft community then, in that respect, of the fact that you're not sponsored to do this. You are working off your own back, and in your spare time from not only just not playing, but outside of your working hours as well. I believe that you really are bringing forward something that a lot of the guests that we've had on here before don't get, and that is paid.
Well, the thing is, I'm a man of simple taste. I'm lucky enough to have a job that permits me to enjoy my hobby, and there are people out there that don't have time to go out and buy 3 or 4 rifles or build 3 or 4 rifles to find something that they like or perform. I've got a load of rifles laying about, and occasionally I'll have the Funstock grade one, and like the Wolverine and the Mancraft. I've had a Mancraft before, so I kind of knew what to expect of that, although I had one, and this is going back 2014 when Mancraft first come out. I had one of the first kits they got in the UK, and I did a basic review on 01. And so I knew what it was like, and at the time they had some problems, the regs weren't great. But then I did my post about, what do people want to see? Like, I'm going to buy some project rifles, what are people interested in? And there was the MK23 DMR that people wanted to see, and Foundry Airsoft helped me out with sourcing a kit. Steve Bayliss he did me a really good deal on the silencer and the TDC. So I thought, I'll do that. I managed to get the Mancraft for a little bit of a discount from them, just because I said, this is my blog, and a lot of people are hopefully going to read it, and people asked to see it. So obviously, I wanted to do it so that someone doesn't have to go out and buy a Spring VSR and then read a load of stuff online saying, actually, CO2 is better, get a Mancraft, and then them having to spend on that and realise, actually, what one did they need? Did they need to spend all of that money? Or installing things? I just thought, actually, you know what? I'm doing it anyway, I might as well document it. I enjoy doing it for the most part. So why not put it out there for people? If they like it, they like it. I'll meet some new people. I'll learn some more stuff myself, because I'm quite open to criticism, and I've certainly received some, but it's all a learning curve, and we're all enjoying the same sport, so why not share it a bit?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. I don't know.
We've got a few questions that have come in, Graham. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you out your own show here.
Wow, look at that.
Can I read them out?
You know what? It's a live show. We'll let you do some questions. Shoot.
I enjoy being here. Thank you for letting me say. I did actually state in the
car,
comments that if I don't ask any questions in the comments, that you will fire me.
Yes.
Which is true. Graham laughs. He's not denied it yet. So Alex Bailey,
you out the cupboard.
Yeah. You can see the doors, right?
He's under the stairs.
You're on that brick wall.
Alex Bailey has asked, "What's your dream sniper build?" It sounds like Blind Date, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like an SSG. No, sorry.
I like long walks down the beach, romantic novels.
Almost lost that one.
I do like bullpup rifles. So the SRS for me, I did a trade with someone and I owned it for about a week before the guy wanted to trade back. Just because he decided he was going to sell it instead because he needed the money, which is absolutely fine. Only lives around the corner for me, so I had no issues. But I did like it. I do like the idea of a bullpup. And there's a company called Anti-Sniper Works. Some Russian dudes. I don't know if you've seen them. They do some really. It's expensive, but it's really cool. And they do an SV98, and I would love. And I keep talking to them. Yeah. Every now and then I'll get a PM, and I'm like, "Hello, can I have an SV98 yet?" Like, how cheap can you do it? I need this in my life. But I just like the style of it. It's a good looking rifle, but Taran Carring do some nice stuff. And Vintage Airsoft I've been speaking to. And maybe soon, in a few months, I might have some stuff from them. And them from me. Because I do like the idea of an Enfield.
Nice.
Have you heard of what's his name? David Taylor and his smelly build that he is hoping to create.
Smelly build?
Small magazine, the Enfield.
No, unless he's the guy who does Vintage Airsoft.
No, he's Dave's Custom Airsoft Limited.
Oh no, I haven't. I know of him. Whenever you look for something on 01, they usually get emails you to say he's got a website which has what you need. Which is good. Good marketing.
That's the way to market, isn't it? That is the way to market.
But no, I haven't. But anyone doing stuff like that is a credit, because I can build rifles and things, but I am not very good with stuff like wood, general DIY. Like, there's a story about a bathroom pedestal, which we'll cover at some point if you're interested, just to outline how bad my DIY skills are.
Sweet. We'll talk about it. We'll have more time.
Yeah.
There's another one here from Ryan Clark, and obviously I haven't got the stream on my phone now because it's gone now, but so I'm going to commit to memory, and it's basically this: what's your thoughts on the Airy Striker slam firing as been reported by Airsoft GI?
I've had a
first
couple.
First of all, is it true? Let's go with that.
I'll base my answer on my fact that I'm part of the owners group. I've had about 5 or 6 across my lap, and I've seen a few others. No. And if it isn't so much an issue as it is something you need to adjust, that anyone can readily adjust. And I think actually a long time ago, when the Striker first came out, Bespoke Airsoft said, actually, some rifles may benefit from this, just because obviously they're chucked together quickly, and as with any slightly cheaper rifle, the QC's never going to be perfect. But is it an issue? Is there a V2? I don't think there's a proper one, although I have seen that Aries have made a statement. I haven't had a chance to see it yet, but I heard some mumblings that and from what I gather, they essentially said that there isn't.
No, so
Graham, can you grab that?
Yeah. So I've actually spoke with James Parker from Bespoke. I did immediately because it was the day after we did the live show and how we were talking about the Striker. And I've had people message me going, I was going to buy one and I've seen this. As you say, essentially there is a screw that is too tight when it comes out of factory for some people, and it just adjusts the sear. Undo that slightly and the sear is fine. I haven't seen the technical aspects, but that's essentially everyone can do it, and they're actually recommended to change the sear level. Yeah,
and to put it in context, I've got a VSR next to me. I've got a Springer's Custom 90 degree, and I've got my 45 degree one's got my bolt in it. But essentially, you actually have the same screw on some VSR models and clones, which is to do with the trigger pull. And all it does is the tighter you put it in, the more it engages the sear down so that it can literally be on a hair, and that's how you get the hair trigger. And most 90-degree triggers are set like that. So it may have happened a few more times on a striker, but you look at the cost of a Tokyo Marui, you look at the cost of a striker, TMs can slam fire after 1 cycle. They can slam fire after 100. With a striker, people are upgrading those to 500 FPS with no other upgrades.
Out of the box, yeah.
And they're running at 500 FPS.
Yeah, so, absolutely. And Ares did come out with a statement, didn't they? Sorry, Ares did come out with a statement, and that basically confirms that they've... So over there's some checks which is essentially they weren't comfortable with, so they have modified it for over there. But the ones in Europe, the ones over here, have all passed all the safety checks. There's nothing to worry about. Although I wouldn't recommend testing it by doing their test, which is to drop it from 6 meters up in the air. So probably not something I'd recommend doing. Sorry, 6 foot.
Sorry, I shouldn't
6 foot in the air. Sorry.
Yeah,
6 meters. 6 foot in the air.
6 meters.
Yeah, sorry, 6 foot in the air.
It's not from 6 meters. I did the thing.
I can't do that test. I'm too short. I'd have to have someone do it for me.
Yeah, essentially they drop it from 6 foot on the floor. Yeah.
By the way, I just want to be like really pedantic, but can you please get to 6 meters up high and just drop this piece of equipment I paid hundreds of pounds for?
Yeah, so, but apparently if you drop it 6 foot, it fires. I honestly wouldn't want to try it with a VSR, an L96 or anything else that's been cocked, to be honest. But essentially that was the safety issues they were talking about, but it doesn't seem to be an issue over here, and anything over there has already been modified.
In terms of health and safety, as long as it's not far, as long as it's not facing towards you, you're okay.
And the other thing is, it won't slam fire if it's not knocked. And if it's knocked and slam firing, then 1, you shouldn't have it cocked in your safe zone, and 2, you should have your safety on so the trigger can't engage regardless. So.
And how many people run with it at 6 foot high? I mean, are they kind of just running it around?
Have I just like updated their shooting style now? Where they got snipers instead of AKs?
Yeah, that's it. Somalian style over the head.
Plus, how many people do you know at chest height that are 6 foot tall? I know of about 2, and they don't play airsoft. They're stuntmen.
Or basketball players.
The funny thing is with the striker, from what I can gather, it's become a really popular rifle.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are modding it. I've seen a load of people do the short barrel mod that I did. I think Bespoke, I spoke to Bespoke, they're making a short outer barrel for it so people can just go straight in and run a G-spec. And rightly so, like they are, for such a cheap rifle, they're really good, considering you've had Novrich slate it. Yeah. He obviously wasn't happy about it, and a lot of misconceptions. Obviously, you've had the US guys panic and say, oh, actually, we're not going to sell them. You're not going to sell them because you don't want anyone else buying them unless they're buying it from you. So there's a bit of whether it's true or not, there's certainly a bit of selling and exaggeration to how bad the issue really was. Because you think on the owners group, there's hundreds and hundreds of people on that group. To this day, I still haven't seen one who's come on the forum and said, mine slam fired because I dropped it from 6 foot.
Stuart A. Carroll has asked a question. DMR, yes or no?
I don't think.
First question. I mean, there's 1 or a 0. Which one is it?
I think there's a game type. I think there's a situation where I'm not against them. I think the Milsim rules are okay in terms of it should be a DMR by DMR standards in terms of firing a larger caliber. But actually, what is the definition? It's a designated marksman rifle. So it's about the role as opposed to the equipment.
What about Ruger 1022 then? Which is my go-to weapon of choice for my DMR.
It depends. I think if you're at those limits, if you're at 450, 400 to 450, and you have the same MED, and there's something in place to stop you from shooting quickly, then I don't have a problem with them. But
and that's
I should use my middle finger instead of my forefinger.
You got to do your other hand.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that one's even worse. Because I learned to shoot ambi. I've trained myself to shoot ambidextrous. So I'm everyone's worst enemy.
I said I wouldn't show and tell, but I do want to just demonstrate something in regards to that DMR point.
Right, we're going to do this on the fly here. So everyone, give me 1 sec. This is
Oh,
live.
I've got a headache already, Graham.
You're literally doing this live. Here we go. I haven't even got a wallpaper anymore because of this. But there we go. Everyone can now see your camera.
So a DMR is obviously as quick as you can pull that. This is a Wolverine bolt build. So...
Oh, man.
That's 3 shots off. Every one of those is a shot. Just because that bolt pull.
Wow, that's incredible.
So DMR rules is fine, but this is 500 FPS. And I can shoot slightly less quicker than someone at 450 with a DMR. So I'm on the fence. I think there's a place. If everyone's agreed and it's a rule that everyone's happy with, then fair enough. Because ultimately, a DMR's got a slight advantage over a spring rifle if you're within that 60 to 70, 60 to 80 meter mark, just because you're going to have similar accuracy at 450. But when you're putting a Wolverine bolt against a DMR, then actually you can still get those rounds off pretty quick. So
yeah,
I'm not against it. I'm not for it. I think there is a place for them, but it's one of those people have to be comfortable with it. If Polar Stars are there, then it's anyone's game, isn't it?
Yeah. We've got another 2 comments here. It's one's from James Bailey. He said he dropped his VSI out of a tree 3 weeks ago, and it didn't slam fire. Just for the record.
I knew he'd prove me wrong.
Ask him if he manned up and put a 90-degree trigger in that yet. Otherwise, I'm sorry.
I'm not going to ask him that. He can hear it. He can hear you. I'm not typing that out. Because if you look back through the show, it looks like I'm being an arsehole to James Bailey, and I need him on my show, please. Also, Joe Olsen has stated that the Mark 12 Mod 0 is a 556.
And it's a DMR. Well, it's an SPR. It's a special purpose rifle. But yeah, same thing. But no, the thing, I'm fine with it. Like, I want an MK12 build at some point. I might get Kingdom of Airsoft to do one for me, or even I can't remember the gentleman's name, but there's a guy who started another blog who I used to speak to a lot, and he asked me loads of questions when I started mine. He's doing the DMR blog, the DMR Builder blog, and he's got a SR25, I think. And I might get him to do one. He seems knowledgeable. He's a really nice guy when I've spoke to him, because I like the idea of DMRs. But maybe they should change the limit slightly in terms of maybe what the FPS is, or an ammo count, or even the MED.
Yeah, that's always my issue with DMRs. Since the last couple of years, I'm just seeing a rise of DMRs because they're like, oh, higher FPS, we'll just do that. And I mean, some are locked to semi, a lot of them aren't, and they say they're semi only. But you're right, it's the fact that there's no mag limit. They're normally using high caps anyway, and it is just pulling the trigger. It does feel like people are just chasing at high FPS.
Yeah.
But milsim's completely different. You know, mag restrictions or mid and lows only.
But do you remember the restrictions on Blue Fox 2 for DMRs?
I wasn't there, so go for it.
No, I mean basically one of them was no barrel smaller than 18 inches.
Oh wow!
And the suppressor did not count as barrel length. The unfortunate thing is, I'm going to go back to this because I'm a stickler for this. The Ruger 1022, in real steel situations, is known as a shin splitter or a kneecapper. However, the HTIS guys did not consider the Ruger 1022 to be a DMR.
So I would argue, is it HPA?
I tried to, but it's done.
Or you running a green gas?
It's green.
I think HPA DMRs are significantly different from a standard gas DMR. So if you look at a KC-1022 or an ASG Spec Ops, you've got a disadvantage immediately because of the consistency of green gas. So, you know, is a DMR right if it's got another con to it, which is green gas? Although, to be fair, the KC is a bad example because actually they're quite consistent when they're doing
Yeah, they are. And consistently hitting 412 to 420. Sometimes if it's a bit cold, it's 402, but never below 400.
But I still think that instability on some rifles is fine. And it's about who you play with, because some people will just spam semi as quick as they can. and send a hail of ammo down to you.
I love this. Peter Saki has said DMR is for people who think the gun is the problem, not their skills. Fluff Raids congratulates you on a stellar 5 out of 7 comment. Thank you very much.
Well, go back there. Look at, you've got people running around. Let's say there's some famous YouTubers that run around with their 550 FPS rifles that don't have the skill of someone sneaking around with an MK23. And that's what, a 330 gun? 350, depending on whether it's a TM or one of the clones.
Yeah.
So it's about how you want to play. Like, if I was at a field and someone with a DMR wasn't allowed to play, I'd be like, well, actually, that's a bit unfair. Like, I don't mind playing against someone with a DMR. I'll just change how I play. I will go for the lob shots, or I'll make sure that I am damn close before I get a shot off.
Yeah.
No, it's just another element to the game. Same as like sites that allow tag rounds or don't allow certain, like, when I'm playing a private game in the mall soon, end of this month, I play with the AF UK guys. We've hired them all out for a night. And last time we went, really good game, really nice people, BFGs are allowed. I've got a TRMR. This time they're not allowed it. I'm not too bothered by it. I'll just have to, I don't know, get a rubber chicken and just start attacking people with that when I run into a room.
Is this since their incident? Since their incident, probably? Because, I mean, it's the same thing with tag rounds. Is a lot of their... I've been chatting to a few site owners recently about tag rounds, and they basically said, if you've been around Airsoft a while, most of those sites won't bother with tag rounds because they know how much the insurance is always going to be an issue if anything goes horribly wrong. But BFG...
because they're a fin-stabilised projectile.
Yeah, and as far as the insurance, you know, when you explain to the insurance, what's the tag round? How did it just knock someone's teeth out because it, you know, went up against their jaw and went off? You know, accidents happen. I suppose from a site's point of view, they've got to cover their ass. But I mean, the mall had the issue at the BFG, didn't he? Someone threw it high in the room. This was early last year, so well over a year ago.
Well, like overhead.
It went around the corner,
under.
I think, but it was thrown like that as opposed, because normally when you drop it, obviously you're really just posting them. You shouldn't really be throwing it down a hallway. You just want to drop it round a corner. But that's why it doesn't bother us. We were all told that there won't be TRMRs, so we just went, okay, we'll just stick to the usual cardboard, Enola gaze, bangs, those sort of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Graham, have you got any more questions?
Yeah, so let's go back 5 minutes ago. Wolverine, you spoke about it. Let's be fair, you had experience with the Mancraft. I brought the Mars system because you recommended it. So you've had experience with the Wolverine, you obviously Spring. What was your verdict? And do you think it's specific to the rifle, or overall, what would you say the verdicts are against all of these?
Well, I've had obviously the Mancraft, Wolverine, and a Spring, and they've all gone into VSRs.
Okay.
So they're all running. Most of them will end up running in the same barrels. So an EGI rather, or a PDI. And bucking-wise, they'll all be running 9 balls. Chamber-wise, they're generally running Action Armies. So when you look at the cost of the rifle, the cost of the kit, and the performance, it really, really depends on what it is you're after. So there are pros and cons to each rifle. So the most expensive by far, even if you bought the cheapest clone but went TM with the other two, the Wolverine. If you go for the Wolverine and the Wraith, you're spending 500-600 quid, not including the barrel, the pot, and everything else. If you go for the Mancraft, you're spending £198, I think I spent at the time, for the kit with the Mars reg.
Yep.
I went with the Mars reg because I had their original regulator and it wasn't consistent. Even after a break-in period, it just wasn't. Whereas the Mars has an expansion chamber and it's a later version, and I found it to be really stable. And one of the Sniper Ops guys has just picked one up as well, I think.
Yeah, Paul Smith. He's in the comments, says it's really good.
Good. Yeah, I think he was going to buy the Mancraft because I've just sold my Mancraft. I had a choice of keeping the Wolverine and the Mancraft, and just because I paid so much for the Wolverine, I couldn't let it go.
70%, right?
Yeah, it was. But they're all good. Like the Mancraft, it's got the mechanical sound of the Mancraft is significantly more than the Wolverine, and there is the O-ring mod you can do, and even at the muzzle end, you can make it very quiet, but you've still got the mechanical, you've still got the tiny bit of friction, albeit a shorter bolt pull.
Yeah.
But depending on the reg and how lucky you are with the reg, it is consistent. The Mars fits in your stock, so no external line. It runs off CO2 capsules. I like it. I think the Mancraft is good because it's simple. You could throw it in a pond, take it out, and the only issue you have will be the water in the barrel, and that will get blown out soon enough, and the wet bucket. But they just work. It's mechanical. Spring for me is my favourite rifle. My two of my favourite rifles are both spring rifles, just because they're consistent. I know them inside and out. The parts are available, and they work all year round. And there's no other factor to it. It's just the rifle and the ammo you're putting in. Like, you don't hit the springs, don't break very often. If you've upgraded it in line with the FPS that you intend on playing at, i.e. 90-degree trigger, etc., it's fine. Like, they last a long time, and they require no more maintenance than the Mancraft. The Mancraft was the single most expensive purchase I've ever had, bar a Systema. It is just expensive. I had some minor issues with mine, most of which related to the fact I was using a TM receiver I think it was a JG stock. So where the trigger goes, you've got the electronic switch. The stock was just too narrow.
We're talking about Wolverine here, aren't we? Not Mancraft. Sorry.
Wolverine. Mancraft is dropped in every gun I've put it in, whether it's a Cyma 701, whether it's the Well, the HFC 11, TM VSR, even some of the Echo series from Evite. It just drops in, it just works.
Those are some that you don't see over here often, to be honest.
Yeah, I picked a couple. Someone sold some on a forum ages ago, and they were cheap, so I just picked both of them up. Nice.
Sorry, I didn't interrupt. Carry on.
But with the Wolverine, like, installing it's quite simple. Depending on what rifle you've got, there's like a little bit of drill. There's two bits that need to be drilled. One is a hole for you to affix the trigger to, and one is for the airline to come out of.
Yeah.
Quality of it in terms of the construction is great. It looks cool, and it's metallic purple, so I'm happy with that. I like metallic purple.
Sweet.
I'm a stickler for appearance.
Are you getting rid of that anytime soon? Because I'd happily pick it up off you.
I'm
not exchanging money here. I'll just take it from you.
Just come to my house and take it.
I'll trade.
Since you're not using it.
Yeah. No, I'm a stickler for really rare sort of colours on weapons. I don't mean two-tones, because I do have a Yukara.
So with the Wolverine, I've got it, and it is silent. Like, it is whisper quiet. Now, I'm running mine on a 6.01 ported EGI barrel G-spec length.
Okay.
And I've had issues with my Wolverine. It shoots, and it shoots well. It flings .43s, I think I've got, or 4.5s, with AA chamber and a 9-ball buck-in. It just works really well. Consistency is a bit odd. I can have 6 or 7 shots within 1 FPS, and then I can have 3 shots within 10 or 15.
Oh, wow.
That could be down to a break-in period, but mine just doesn't seem to be as efficient as I thought it would be. And I'm not entirely sure if it's the kit. I've checked for air leaks and I can't find anything. Unfortunately, I can't do the water test because it does run on a battery.
Yeah,
it has got electronics, which is a concern. Like, if I was at one of the hunteering events or the sniper ops where you're on the ground, you're crawling through dirt, I wouldn't want to take my Wolverine build to one of those games, because I don't want it to be in a situation where it could potentially get damp, dirty, and mess with the electronics. So as much as I like the Wolverine, and it does shoot well, and the sound, you cannot, depending on if you're running a silencer, so I'm running a standard TM silencer, it is MK23 quiet at 500 FPS, 2.5 joules with a 0.4, it is quiet, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But versus the cost of my ASG that I've built, or my VSR that I've built spring, is it worth, depending on let's say you buy a clone rifle like a Cyma, is it worth double the cost, excluding a battery and a hop and the sort of the accuracy and consistency upgrades. Depends how much you earn. If you earn enough to go out and buy one, do it. It sounds great. And
I can justify the cost. I just don't have to eat for a week.
Maybe 2.
I'm drought and fan resistant, Graham.
Does it seem to be more of a concept piece? You know, like we see the car manufacturers making these amazing things that it's like, yeah, no one could justify buying it, but it works really well.
You mean like the BMW one with the skin? And it was like a diamond cut around the wheels and stuff when they turn.
Exactly. But I mean, for me, the whole thing about sniping is the fact there is no mechanical aspects. I mean, 6 years ago, I did a weekend where pretty much people were down to pistols and I had my bolt action because it was raining from Friday to Sunday and people their guns couldn't keep up with it.
And that's where the Mancraft has an advantage.
Yeah.
It is mechanical and you're not going to damage a lot on it. So the Wolverine works, like it will fling a BB and it will fling it far.
Yeah.
Obviously that is very much dependent on your hop, whatever your consistency, your seal, your bucking and your barrel and the ammo. But for me, would I buy another one? Probably not. I'd rather buy 2 other rifles and upgrade them.
That's just change.
And it's not to bash it. Like, look at the SRS. The SRS is another really good example. It doesn't, from what I've seen of the one I've used and from other people, it performs really well for an out-of-the-box gun.
Yeah.
But the cheapest I've seen them is Airsoft imports at 480 quid for the covert.
Yeah.
Does it perform like one of my rifles, one of my VSRs, either of them, or my ASG, which with one of them is with a TM base? Does it perform as good as an upgraded one of them? No.
It's good out of the box, but it is expensive. Yeah, you're right.
With the SRS, you're paying for correct mag placement in terms of it being a bullpup. You're paying for the fact that it just looks awesome. The hop works on it, and obviously they've released the fast hop now, and they've released the pull kit as opposed to the push. If I'm in a position where I've got enough money to buy like a more expensive piece, then the SRS certainly would be one for me. And the Wolverine is one of those, if you can afford it and you want something you can just drop in and you're not playing in conditions where you'd be concerned about is it going to get dropped into a pond or get mud and stuff in it, then I would rate it because it does work well and it is so quiet. Like, it really is. That's definitely, and the cycle. Like, as I showed, you can cock a VSR. Like, I've got my upgraded VSR runs a Teflon cylinder nice and quick, but I can't get that off as quick as I can the Wolverine.
No, that's right.
Usually I hold this up when we got more questions, and we're getting close to the end, so
had to get it in there. I just want to say hi to James from Bespoke Airsoft, who's in there. Who was speaking heavily about the SRS products last week, and at least 2 people have said they're going to go get the Striker from listening to that show. So one of them being Caroline.
That's some good work, Graham. No, that's great work for Airsoft Nation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Actually, you've got 2 comments straight off the bat from James Parker. This is strict map pricing on SRS products, guys, and hello. But I just want to get these last few questions out when I can find them, which will be never.
And in full Graham.
Exactly. So, right, let's get rid of him. Right.
Get another one out of the cupboard.
Yeah, he's still. Yeah. How did you know it's behind the wall? But while Carlo's still searching through, so out of interest, how many rifles do you have now? Obviously, you've got a lot of VSRs. Yeah. Are you going to need more than 2 hands?
Do you want to see them, or do you just want to know what they are?
What have you got?
I've got my personal VSR, which is running a Springer Custom and some Sniper 1 parts. I've got my Wolverine G-Spec. I've got a Tanaka AICS. I've got a Tanaka M700, an ASG M40A3, an ASG AW308. I've got an Amoeba Striker downstairs, which I'm still trying to get to work.
So one of everything.
I did have my Mancraft VSR, but that's been sold last week. And then I've got a load of AGs.
Wowee. So what was your thought about what was the second one you mentioned? Not your VSR, which is your primary. Next one.
VSR, and then it was the Wolverine Bolt G-Spec, and then the Tanaka.
Yeah, sorry, the Tanaka. There we go. Obviously, James is a fan. Have you got the chrome one? Are you going to just say it's the chrome one there?
No, I've got
2 minutes, please.
AICS.
Let's swap that back over. There we go. Everyone can see nice and big there.
So this was a project gun I picked up recently. Still needs a lot of work. But they just, again, they dual creep a lot, so you have to be careful. But luckily, if you've got the pre-ban ones, which both of these are, you can adjust the FPS so you can get it sitting down to where you need. But they just work really well. They are just workhorses. And then I've got the M700, which is the one I did the paint job on the other day.
Nice job there.
And that's running. What's that running? I think I've just changed the barrel in that to just an Action Army 603 Spartan hop chamber. Which, if you've got a Tanaka or even the KJW M700, the Spartan chamber is one of the best upgrades. It just allows VSR cut barrels, VSR buckings, and it comes with a really flat metal nub, and it just works a treat.
Fantastic. So,
cool.
saying your barrel then, if you had to put a build together for your everyday airsofter who was going to we'll go with VSR since it's the most popular, boring but most popular sniper rifle. What would you say for someone who's just getting one, who's going to do the upgrades, nothing kind of to the extreme maxing? What would you kind of say, barrel, hop unit, nub, stuff like that, combination together for him?
In terms of dropping, any of the maple leaf buckings, so the Decepticon, the Autobot, or the Diamond in 60 to 75 degree hardness, all of them with the Omega nub work a treat.
It's a concave nub, is it?
Yeah, it's.
I love these Blue Peter.
Yeah, here's one I made earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
I did have one somewhere knocking about. Yeah.
James Parker just said they're doing an in-depth video series to do the comparison between Minecraft and Wolverine. So, and Daniel, I think they're going to contact you. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think most people will see that.
Yeah, it's tiny.
That was really small, isn't it?
It is a little concave nub, but if you depend on the barrel you've got. So VSRs are weird. I've had 2 VSRs, both Tokyo Emery Pros. One came with a brass bridged barrel, and then another one came with what I assume was an aluminium unbridged barrel.
Oh, interesting.
Weird.
Right.
But obviously with bucking, with the maple leaf, you need an unbridged. But, yep.
We're good to go. Stuart A. Carroll has returned with the Wolverine Bolt on HPA or CO2, or is there much difference?
Well, the selling point of the Wolverine is the way that the regulator works, because the Wraith is just a Storm with the adapter, is that it is supposed to be consistent on either. It's supposed to be more consistent on HPA, but for me it's negligible. I would rather run it unencumbered without any lines and use the Wraith in the stock.
Okay, yeah.
Just because it just fits nicely.
Yeah, absolutely.
A few more here. We got R-Hop from Jasper Elsinger.
Ooh, yay or nay?
I mean, that's kind of a vague question. So, like, Jasper, if you can say, I mean, it's more like, can you specifically state which weapons you'd put it into? And
is it worth the hassle? I mean,
that's the thing.
Yes. I mean, that's my personal opinion, yes, but, it's not my show.
Depends. If you're using a maple leaf diamond bucking, and the reason I say diamond is obviously you've got the Decepticon, the Autobot, the Monster, the Diamond. The Diamond is the closest to a drop in R-Hop you can get on a VSR or a VSR cut. Is the R-Hop better? Yes, if you can get the correct material and have the time to install it. Like someone like Sam over at Kingdom of Airsoft, the guru of R-Hops in the UK. Like I've got a TM recoil which has got one of his R-Hops in it, and it is phenomenal. But in a VSR, you can lift heavy ammo, and that's what an R-hop's for. It's for lower powered guns that you want to work with heavier ammo, where you need to impart more hop in a slower gradual way. Because a VSR is such a sudden hit of force. If you're using a maple leaf, you've got a reasonable contact patch.
Yeah, so, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it is. In anything other than a sniper, I'd say, yeah, do an R-hop. They are worth it. Sugru's fine, maybe not so much for your standard AG, but in DMRs and even VSRs, I've had success with a Sugru hop. It is just you have to need it for ages, because where people have said, oh, I've only got 1,000 rounds, and it chips away, you can see by the pattern of how it's chipped away that it's because there's air pockets, and it's not a consistent, compressed, uniform pattern. I think James Bailey, actually, we were speaking about it, and I've done a few, and I've had one that lasted about 100 rounds, and then it just crumpled. And I had another one in an L96, and I spent ages just toying with it, keeping it room temperature, really forcing it in there, rolling it off, and doing it again. That lasted for ages. I don't know how long it lasted. I used it for a few thousand rounds myself, and then it got sold on. But if you've got the time and patience to do it, then it's no worse than anything else you can do. But in terms of just putting a bucking in, I would say maple leaf.
Now, follow on to what you're saying about the Sugru stuff. Is it worth building, I don't know, a vacuum machine and trying to suck all the air out of it, and then trying to mold it afterwards, or is that going a little bit too extreme? just for airsoft.
A little bit extreme.
Don't laugh.
Again,
laugh
if
me.
You've got time and money.
It's a serious question. I'm kidding.
And literally for like £2, isn't it? Really. I mean, that's the best bit about it. It's a nice cheap mod. I think that's the point about it, really.
Malleable, pliable, it works. That's what we're going with.
I think the R-hop is proven to work, isn't it? Really.
You have to need it, and kneading. I come from a background in catering. What you're doing with kneading is basically you're working the air out of it. That's why I said cheap fix, vacuum, right? Just suck all the air out of it instead of just playing with it.
I just think you'd be there with a rolling pin.
Don't tempt me, Graham. I have a lot of free time lately.
If they're full of hot air, just sit them down and give them a firm talking to. Knock all the air out. Knock the wind out of them.
Still with the rolling pin.
So I just want to throw this in quickly because Jay, good friend. Hi, Jay. Nice to meet you, mate. Good seeing you again. All the best. He says, how do you rate S-hop compared to the traditional R-hop?
R-hop is better, without a doubt, but only marginally because it is just so much more durable than Sugru. Like an R-hop patch will last for thousands of rounds. But what a lot of people forget, and I myself didn't twig onto it for a while, is you can have a really good cut patch, but if you've just bought some cheap, like for a better word, crap tubing off of eBay, like some fishing hose, it will work okay, maybe better than your current bucking, depending on what you use. But obviously, the reason why Hunter Seeker's original R-hop worked so well was because of the EPDM or EDM tubing, whatever it was that he used.
Yep.
Whereas I don't actually know the names of them, but there are a few retailers in the UK that have started to do R-hops, and they aren't using that material, and it isn't. You can notice a difference. So unless you can get the really good R-hop material and you've got the time to do it properly, then Sugru is a nice alternative. And if you can't be bothered to do that, maple leaf is another good option, and certainly an improvement over most stock buckings, unless you're TM, which just has fairy dust and just works.
Absolutely. And like you say, you can always send your rifle off to Sam at Kingdom of Airsoft, and he'll do the patch for you.
Yeah.
And he does have, and I believe, if I recall correctly, it's about 27 minutes, a video how to do it step by step. You've got to do it effectively, though. I think that's the other thing, isn't it?
Maple Leaf allows for more user error.
Yeah.
Because if it goes wrong, you just take the bucking off, realign it. Obviously, with an R-hop, you've got to go through the hassle of cutting it, sanding it, trying it, and that's why companies like Sam obviously charges for that.
Yeah.
And I speak to Sam a lot. He did one of my recoil shocks for me, and I've spoke to him for a while now. And he's the first person to offer to help you do something rather than do it for you. Hence why he's made a long video about how to do R-hop and motor unwinds and loads of things like that. And that's what we need more in the community.
Yeah, that's some real in-depth science right there. And I've actually seen it, and it breaks down not only the workings, but the understanding of the workings, the full minutiae of each and every single part that is moving. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Just gonna say,
Sorry, I've got more questions.
Go for it. I'm looking at chat now.
All right, let's do a quick fire round. So basically, Jasper L. Singer has asked 0.4 or 0.46?
The heaviest you can possibly get away of lifting. If you can lift a 4.6, do it.
Cool. All right. What can we expect to see
I was gonna say
blog in the close future?
I had to restrain myself then, Graham.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the only 4.6 there is, I believe. But we I'm still waiting to test them. That's for sure. But I'm going to be
only
trying
4.6 at the moment.
Yeah, I'm going to try Bespoke's BBs. Spoke to
Bespoke's
James
good.
before. Yeah,
James sent me some of his 0.4s.
That's what I'm going to try. I've used ASG's ones. I had no issues with them. Really chuffed with them. I'm just going to try another one out now. So I'm going to try the Bespoke's ones next, just for the Mark 23. Cool. All right, Carlo, sorry, I know we talked about that one.
James Parker has asked, what can we expect to see from the blog in the close future?
Well, funds depending. I would still very much like to get an SRS at some point.
All right.
Big shout out, James.
James. No, and I know with Silverback Airsoft, they are very strict on their pricing. Tokyo Emery M40 A5 would be next on my list. Now that there's an availability of parts, I think ASP UK, who again I talk to a lot, and they do some really good parts. I like them. They're made in the UK, most of it.
Yeah.
Which is good. So I know
they sponsored the event yesterday.
Did they?
At the jail. Yeah, they did. They were sponsors. Yeah, they were sponsors of the event with Military Minds and Scottish Little Soldiers.
Yeah, Paul and Matt, who both worked there, really nice guys. I knew ASP UK back when it was Darren. Years ago now.
Yeah.
Wow, you are old.
My first rifle. Before I knew what to do, he walked me through it and did it for me. And I think when he did the walkthrough guides did on Facebook, where he did like the live posting, that one of them was my rifle. Is the Cymer that he did for me.
He helped me with my Maruzen back in the day, and that's all my upgrades came from him at the time. So, yeah.
Cool. James Parker has said, we can help with that, Dan. Hit me up. Let's talk SRSs.
There we go. Sorted.
Wow. You guys never offer me anything.
It's because I'm pretty.
Kidding.
he offers something, Carlo.
Hey, look, cool. Look what I've got on my hoodie. All right, look, I'm sponsored. Okay,
you're sponsored now. That's it.
You sell out.
Sorry, it's a partnership. How dare you?
It's supported.
It's a partnership.
Absolutely. Okay,
anyways,
cool. So yeah,
thanks, James. I appreciate that. Thank you for sending me something.
Oh, what was that?
I just got a message from James Parker, a comment from James Parker. I'll send you something, Carl. I'm like, it's going to be a dildo, isn't it? Any money. I always get weird things. Always get weird things from airsofters in boxes. What the hell? Come on, guys.
Well, you need to start doing these unboxing videos. You could be, right at the top of there, Okay.
What? So-and-so has sent me this sex toy with my name engraved in it. It's spelt wrong.
It's been 3D printed.
Come on.
Right. Just before we started live, we were chatting. What did you say about completely unrelated to this? What did you say about the Evo?
Oh, the Evo 3.
Is that the HPA one or the carbine?
Well, the HPA one's not being released over here.
It's not coming over here yet.
Graham swears blind. Paul has said that they're working on it, and I said, okay, that's great. Up until I'm holding it in my hands, I don't believe a damn word he says.
It's the AEG Scorpion's great little thing.
Oh yeah, I know. I got a snappy trigger response on that.
They are good.
It was faster than I can think. That was amazing.
Was that just?
I got to use it. It was a fraction of a second. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I need to
Good
skin
nippy
this
little rifles, and obviously the mag cut off is pretty sweet.
Yes. But James Falcon's just commented, "What are you after? Let's talk." I'm like, everything you have.
Magaz is going to personally sort out those engravings for you. So good shout, and nice work over the weekend, Magaz, with the ICS.
Jasper Elsinger has just said, last question, and we're going to make this the very last question because the show's getting a bit late now. What did you put into your VCSR body to silence it? I used foam in all empty places.
It was literally a case of what I had to hand, and oddly enough, 2 seconds, I'll get it.
Now I want to know.
Okay, so basically, Graham, where are you this weekend?
Oh, that wasn't quick enough, was it? Wearing my Buffy's back. Go on, what's this?
That's why they call me Two-Stroke Jones, gents. Anyway.
Then it was pump. Now it's just squirt, right? Right. It's after the water.
I'm there for emotional support. It's a selling point. Yeah. I'm a good listener.
Bespoke have just pulled out of everything.
Actually, scrap that. I've got a good sense of humour. This stuff, I got this in. What did I get? I think I got, the neutral rails. Like they do like the DD rails, the MK12, etc. Yeah. Anything neutral seem to send that's a body externals comes with this foam, and it's good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I just literally cut that up into strips, and then just pack it in, or just any kind of old material, because it's all about making small pockets of air, and it's about layering rather than having a solid piece. Like clay works well, but obviously you're adding quite a bit of weight to your rifle.
Of course, you're breaking up the vibrations and the
foam like that.
Pluck foam. If you look on Google, look on eBay, pluck foam, because that way you can actually, it's essentially in cubes. You can pull out the bits you need, make it perfect for what you want, and it's not too expensive, to be fair. So cool. Okay, I think it is that time of the evening to round up the show. Carlo, we'll start with you, and we'll ignore me this time. What you up to this weekend?
I don't mind. This weekend, I will be at the mall on Sunday, the 9th of April. You can catch me there.
What are you doing?
Playing Airsoft.
No, you don't play.
What, you're going up to Reading?
Yeah, I'm going to Reading. Why, you want to jump in the car?
I'm back down. You have to drive down and get me.
How about you come to me on the Saturday night, and we'll arrange that.
There we go.
Graham, I think he's lonely.
He's been trying to hook up with you all this show, hasn't he?
I already have your fucking detail, man.
There's an ex-girlfriend for the reason.
We still talk. Actually, she's been messaging me throughout the show. That's why it's been hard for me to keep in contact with her. I've got 3 screens set up. I've got my TV on here on the right.
She's seen you on the live show. Like, he's famous. I want him. He's loaded. He's obviously paid for this. Time to ruin your dreams.
Loaded, yeah. I was loaded before I did the show.
Later.
Yes, you can catch me there. We've also got we're doing part 2 of the social media discussion. Full operator. Hopefully, Graham, you'll join us for that.
You there?
Dan, hopefully, if I can get you on that too, that'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
It's mainly just discussing the different platforms that we all use, and the kind of the positive and negative drawbacks from it, because there is so much going on in social media these days where airsoft has become so segregated on Facebook, but if you look elsewhere,
Instagram,
it's all kind of together. Yeah. So why is it that with Facebook that drives people apart? Is it the fact that we can make these long posts? And you know what? If I say any more, I'm going to spoil the episode and nobody's going to have to listen to it. Right?
Say, yeah, exactly.
And then I'm homeless in May.
Friday.
So
that'll be on Friday. Dan, what are you up to this weekend? Anything going on?
My evenings are busy this week, so I'm hoping this weekend I can find. I've got a bit of maintenance to do on some of my rifles. I'm hoping I can finish this striker and get it firing. But other than that, no, I'll just be doing some tinkering. I might paint some of my rifles. I had some Krylon turn up. I didn't realise I'd run out. So yeah, hopefully a bit of tinkering, a bit of painting. No airsoft. Although I might get to the in-laws, and they've got a massive field, so I can do some range testing on some of my recent upgrades.
Excellent. Very, very cool. I will share the.
Graham, where are you?
I'm not playing, although I have a new few team members for Airsoft Nation who are helping out. So we have Cole Hughes on the spotlight on Thursday, who's running the new county games. Which, if you haven't seen it, check out ICAC, which is the county games, and Airsoft Nation's hosting the website and helping out with them that front. And I will be having an interview with Joe Olsen from Team Beard, who's actually in the chat today. So
yeah, he's in the chat tonight. Yeah, he's been away for a year, just kind of trying to chill out with the whole revamp of Team Beard. Oh. And have been a huge supporter of bringing Airsoft together as well. They said they want to be on Floperator 2, trying to make that happen.
Well, they've been doing some Speedsoft, haven't they? Which is interesting.
Yeah, they have.
Hear a lot of it.
No, they've been really quiet for the past year, and they've got a new line of patches coming out soon as well. Joe, you owe me a check for that. And I don't work for free. And also, last thing I have to do, only for you, Graham. Last thing, must state this because Andrew's holding the gun to my head. Yes, Andrew Davis, I'm looking at you. Big up one more time for Military Minds and Scottish Little Soldiers and the jail events for raising £1,300 for Scottish Little Soldiers. Thank you so much, everyone that's contributed and donated. We were there at the game yesterday. It was a fantastic day. Couldn't have asked for a better... everything about that was perfect. The weather was perfect. Temperaments were perfect. Everyone was a seasoned player there. You know, that we played these short games in the morning to get everyone acquainted with the site and orientated. Massive thing I have to say as well in terms of charity. Spartan Warrior. Big fan of them myself. They work in Kent, which is where Graham's from.
Yep.
It's, the county of farms. I'm in Kent 9 out of 10 skirmish days anyway, promoting Floperator and meeting and greeting with a lot of people, as well as the Muslims that do at Apocalypse.
Zones, haven't we?
You do actually, yeah, you do.
We have the best safe zones.
Yeah, because in my area there's nothing.
Carlo does these reviews of safe zones.
Build our own. Like the first objective of the day is find wood and build your own safe zone. I'm like, what the hell?
Cool.
Spartan Warrior patches. Spartan Warrior PTSD charity is a very, very small, close-knit group of people that are literally volunteers. They take no money out of the charity at all. 100% of the funds go to helping anybody with PTSD. That's not only combat PTSD, but that is frontline emergency services as well. Police, ambulance, fire service, and military. Nobody is an exception. Nobody's ever discounted.
Absolutely.
If you're a civil servant out there, I'll
share the post up there. Yeah, I've got it on here, so I will share that straight after the show. So definitely have a look and support them.
Yeah, patch is $6.50 through PayPal. Please help these guys out because I'd say if I have a moment quickly, Darkwater managed to raise.
Go on.
There's just one point. It's very short. You know, words of wind. Darkwater Airsoft managed to raise in one campaign that lasted about 2 to 3 months, just over the amount that Spartan Warrior raised in 1 year.
Oh, fantastic!
When you give that perspective, that's how much these guys need. Nobody is taking a cut out of the money. 100% is going towards these services to help others. That's why I'm such a big supporter of them. Floperator is a massive supporter of them. Darkwater works directly with Snowy, who's the main guy at Spartan Warrior. I cannot state enough how important it is to help these people. I say these people. I'm sorry, that's the wrong phrase to use, isn't it? Sorry, it's a live show as well. I can't say how important.
Cut it.
To everyone. help everyone become inclusive into society.
Absolutely.
Nobody should ever have to feel left out or alone. That's my piece. I'm done. Sorry.
Well said. Well said.
Good piece.
And with that, we will definitely end the show. Thank you very much for that, Carlo. I will share everything we've been spoken about. I will be sharing Dan's, it's pretty much snipermechanics.com. I'll be sharing that throughout this week, and hopefully we can get Dan on the spotlight. I thank you, everyone who's been watching. Anyone who has missed it up to this point, it will be on YouTube from tomorrow. And I hope you all have a fantastic week. So thank you very much, everybody. See you later.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Say goodbye, Carlo.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Carlo.